The ultimate void battlefield was so dangerous that even Supreme God Realm experts had died here. Why were there still so many God spirits, true gods, master gods, and even Supreme God Realm experts heading to the void battlefield one after another? It was because the rewards set up by the Supreme Will in the ultimate void battleground were too generous. If one's strength was good and one was lucky, the living beings on the ultimate void battlefield could completely rely on the treasures on the Supreme God Realm monument to advance to the Master God or Supreme God. It was even possible for them to obtain will-level opportunities. This is a good dish. Continue hunting the yellow river fish. However, you don't have to guard this place to the death if you encounter danger in the future. It's just a yellow river dockyard. It's fine if it's destroyed. We can just find another place to rebuild it. You and the Yellow River token are the most important. The current hymn wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Yes, Your Majesty. Yen Luo was touched. Zhou nodded and was about to leave. However, at this moment, a figure appeared not far from him. Zhou was stunned when he saw the other party. Then, he immediately said respectfully, "Greetings, Your Excellency Regal Soul Heaven. I'm no longer Regal Soul Heaven." Regal Soul Heaven, whom he had not seen for a long time, smiled. Zhou was stunned. Liat, did that mean? He subconsciously sensed the other party's will aura and discovered something that shocked him. He couldn't sense the existence of the other party's will. However, the other party had clearly descended with its main body. As a will cultivator at the will divine transformation realm, how could he not sense the other party's will? Unless the other party had already reached a higher level of will realm. Your Excellency has already reached the Supreme Will Realm? Zhou said in disbelief. Haha, not too long ago. My current will is called Reincarnation Will. I temporarily control the netherworld. I also have free access to the Yellow River. The Reincarnation Will smiled and shook its head. However, my Supreme Will realm was only forcefully raised by the high-level fate level given by the Supreme Will. My Supreme Will path still requires me to cultivate step by step. Zhou was speechless for a moment. You've already taken such a huge advantage, yet you still despise it? He fell silent for a moment before saying enviously, I still have to congratulate Your Excellency Reincarnation Will for becoming a Supreme Will. However, even though Your Excellency said that you were only forcefully given the fate level of the Supreme Will, with the enhancement of this fate level, it's equivalent to having the inheritance of the Supreme Will realm. I believe it won't be long before Your Excellency can really achieve the Supreme Will realm that belongs to you. Reincarnation Will smiled and did not deny it. With the Supreme Will rewarding him with the enhancement of the Supreme Will of the Reincarnation Will, the fate level, and he being very close to the Supreme Will realm, he was indeed very confident that he could achieve his own Supreme Will realm in the near future. Reincarnation Will was just about to praise Zhou and say that he was really knowledgeable to even know about this. However, he sensed something and immediately widened his eyes. Your will realm has reached the will divine transformation realm? He asked in shock. I just advanced not long ago. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. The Reincarnation Will immediately quietened down, somewhat suspecting that a new god was born. Could tell that Zhou was only at the true god tier advanced grade, and he had just broken through. A true god who had just broken through to the true god tier advanced grade of the true god realm had actually comprehended the deity transformation realm of will that only Supreme God realm experts could possess. Isn't this Regal's comprehension too terrifying? One needed to reach the Supreme God realm on their Lord's nomological path, and their will to reach the will divine transformation realm to reach the Supreme God realm. This Regal's willpower realm needs had been fulfilled. There was no problem at all with the Supreme God realm Lord talent. He would be able to comprehend the Supreme God realm law sooner or later as long as he cultivated and comprehended step by step. In other words, the Supreme God realm could already be said to be in the bag for this Regal. This common people's Regal is indeed the successor that the Supreme Will values the most. The Reincarnation Will thought to itself. Looks like you'll reach the Supreme God realm sooner or later, Regal. The Will realm is probably not a big problem for you. The Reincarnation will sighed. You're too kind, Lord Reincarnation. I do have some confidence in reaching the Supreme God realm. But how can the Supreme Will realm be so easy? Zhou shook his head. You're the reserve of the Supreme Will personally chosen by the Supreme Will. The Supreme Will has probably already arranged your path to the Supreme Will. The Supreme Will realm is really nothing to you. The Reincarnation Will said seriously. What the Supreme Will wants is an existence with the same will as him. Only that kind of existence will be useful to the Supreme Will and can also play a decisive role in the invasion of the Crimson Overlord and the illusionary race. That's the goal of the Supreme Will, to nurture the Lord of all races. However, even with the ability of the Supreme Will, there's no 100% chance of nurturing an existence with a willpower. Therefore, you have to rely on yourself if you want to achieve willpower. I won't say anything else. I hope you won't let the Supreme Will down. Reincarnation Will smiled. Zhou nodded thoughtfully. It turned out that the Supreme Will's anticipation for the Lord of all races was to nurture a supreme expert with a strong will. This goal was indeed far-reaching. He was currently only a true God-tier advanced grade God spirit. Even though his will had already reached the Will Divine Transformation realm, he was still a long way from reaching the Will Spirit realm. He could take his time. Zhou had no intention of being anxious. How long has it been since he started cultivating? He felt that it was already fast enough for him to have his current achievements. Any faster might be too hasty, and that might cause him not to achieve his goal. Your Excellency, my subordinate said that there was a war outside the Yellow River dockyard. Was that a war between you and the Illusionist clan? Zhou changed the topic. Emichim. The Reincarnation Will nodded, and its expression became a little serious. It looked out of the Yellow River dockyard and said, The Supreme Will wants me to lead the Netherworld, firstly because of the betrayal of the Netherworld Will, and secondly because he wants me to conquer the Netherworld as the Lord of the Netherworld and take back the land of the Netherworld. Yesterday, I led the Netherworld army under my command into the Yellow River and started a war with the Illusionist clan guarding the Yellow River. I'm afraid this war won't end anytime soon. The Reincarnation Will frown slightly towards the end. The Netherworld will betray the Supreme Will? Zhou was shocked with the new knowledge. This is considered a secret among the higher-ups. I only told you because you're a reserve member of the Lord of all races. Don't tell anyone. The Reincarnation Will reminded. Yes, Your Excellency. Zhou immediately said. Does the Illusionist clan have a lot of troops in Yellow River? He asked curiously. In the end, the Illusionist clan was still an outsider. Even if they took over the Yellow River, their foundation in the Yellow River was still very shallow. Logically speaking, it should not be so difficult to fight. Emichim. The Reincarnation Will nodded slightly with a solemn expression. These enemies of the Illusionist clan might have arranged quite a number of soldiers in the Yellow River because they occupied an important realm like the Yellow River. Moreover, they're still pouring troops into the Yellow River continuously, looking like they won't retreat from a fight to the death. It's not easy to take back the Yellow River in a short period of time. At this point, he suddenly smiled at Zhou. Common people's regal. The Supreme Will may send you to me to deal with the Illusionist clan with me after you settle the matter of the ultimate void battleground. When the time comes, we'll be comrades. Zhou was stunned for a moment before he smiled and said, I'm looking forward to that day to be able to fight the Illusionist clan alongside with Lord Reincarnation Will. The Reincarnation Will smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Then, its divine body gradually disappeared, leaving a whisper in Zhou's ear. I will categorize your Yellow River dockyard under my protection. Those ghosts of the illusionary race will never invade you as long as I'm in this Yellow River. You can run this place without worry. Thank you, Lord Reincarnation Will. Zhou cupped his fists. A smile appeared on his face after he stood up. Felt good to know such a big shot. He resolved what he was worried about with a word. However, Lord Reincarnation Will really values me. I feel like he treats me as a peer. What merits do I have to stand on the same level as such a will-level existence? Zhou sighed. Actually, the answer was very simple. It was because he was a reserve for the Lord of all races, just like the Emperor's child. Even if this child did not have any official position, the ministers in the court had to be respectful when they saw this child. In terms of status, as the quasi-heir of the supreme will, the Lord of all races reserve was indeed not much inferior to a will-level existence. In addition, the Reincarnation will was very optimistic about Zhou's future, so it lowered its stance and treated him as an equal. Actually, Zhou wanted to ask how the inheritance of Yellow River's will was. However, he recalled that this Reincarnation will had a deep relationship with the will of Yellow River. If he rashly asked about such a thing, it would easily arouse the disgust of this will-level existence. In addition, he could definitely participate in the competition for the inheritance of the Yellow River's will with the Yellow River token in hand. So, he did not ask. I have to find the right time. It should at least not be out of the blue. Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he shook his head and stopped thinking. With a thought, he disappeared from Yellow River. The next day, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou opened his eyes. Then, he sensed his nomological progress and couldn't help but smile. His lord's nomological progress had increased by a large margin again. In another 2 days, he would be able to advance from True God Tier Advanced Grade to Master God Tier Elementary Grade. In addition, the progress of the Supreme Sacred Body was astonishing. He was already at the level of a Master God Tier Advanced Grade Supreme Sacred Body. With the Supreme Holy Sword and the Regal Sage Dao Sword around, the cultivation efficiency of my Supreme Sacred Body has greatly increased. However, advancing from a Master God Tier Advanced Grade Supreme Sacred Body to a Grade 1 Supreme God Realm Supreme Sacred Body is a huge bottleneck. Even with the help of these 2 holy swords and the help of a huge number of Lord Talent Crystal Fragments and Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals, I'm afraid I won't be able to advance to the Grade 1 Supreme Sacred Body in a short period of time. Zhou pondered. In fact, he already had enough cultivation resources. However, the cultivation of the Supreme Sacred Body was too difficult. Even if there were enough cultivation resources, it was impossible to raise the cultivation progress of his Supreme Sacred Body to the Supreme God Realm in a short period of time. I want to cultivate the Supreme Sacred Body to the Grade 1 Supreme God Realm. Even with the help of the 2 holy swords and a vast amount of Lord Talent resources, it will probably take 2 to 3 months. However, I remember that the Supreme God Realm Monument has the exclusive cultivation treasure of a Lord Nomological Cultivator. If I can obtain those treasures, the speed at which one cultivate the Grade 1 Supreme Sacred Body will definitely increase greatly. Zhou's eyes lit up. He needed the resources in the Supreme God Realm Monument, be it willpower cultivation or Lord Law cultivation. He was now more and more eager to head to the ultimate void battlefield. Then, he looked at the mythical tier Lord Talent that he had just awakened this morning. Upon seeing this, he was stunned for a moment before he was pleasantly surprised. Lord Talent, Heavenly Summoning, Mythical Tier, Unique, Specific Talent Effect. Any subject you summon from the Gate of Summoning has a minimum strength of Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. It's actually this Mythical Tier 1 Lord Talent? Zhou held his breath. Any subject summoned from the Gate of Summoning would have the strength of at least Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. This was an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. It was enough to become an existence at the level of the kingdom's worshippers. If this was the early stage of the Lord of all races, if a lord could summon even 1 Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade subject every day, their strength would probably be enough to sweep through most lords of the various races. Even Zhou, who had Nazario at the early stages of his development, could not defeat an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade expert. Nazario was only a pure-blooded green bronze tier dragon when it was first BOM. At that time, it could at most fight a white platinum tier expert and could not escape from a diamond tier expert. Not to mention extraordinary tier experts. This was not the most important thing. Most importantly, This Lord talent was extremely suitable for Zhou Zhou. This was because the number of soldiers he recruited every day through the recruitment books had reached an astonishing 64 capital unit soldiers, not even counting the normal summoning and the pure-blooded dragons summoned from the original Dragon Abyss. But the strength of these 64 capital unit soldiers who emerged from the Gate of Summoning were only at the lowest Black Iron Tier elementary grade. Now that he had this mythical unique Lord talent, the strength of the 64 capital units recruits, summoned by him, would directly increase from Black Iron Tier elementary grade to Extraordinary Tier elementary grade, a total of 64 capital units of Extraordinary Tier soldiers. Just thinking about it felt ridiculous. Furthermore, an Extraordinary Tier elementary grade is only 3 major tiers away from the God Spirit level. With the Lord talent of my Master God Tier of War, and the help of the vast numbers of books of the God Spirit, it will be extremely easy for them to advance to the level of God Spirits. When the time comes, I will have an endless stream of new God Spirits. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. This mythical tier Lord talent not only brought him a large number of soldiers with form strength, it also brought him a large number of future God Spirits. I was thinking yesterday that the soldiers recruited from the Gate of Summoning were a little weak. You gave me such a top-grade mythical tier unique Lord talent today. As expected of the Supreme Sacred Body that I spent a lot of resources to cultivate. It really didn't disappoint me. Then, he immediately headed to the world where Mu Gu was. Mu Gu was previously arranged to stay in the Mu residence. Later on, after the territory was upgraded to a true God tier territory, Zhou Zhou created a small world for Mu Gu in his Divine Kingdom world. It was specially used to house Mu Gu and his Scarlet Broodmother. Later on, after the territory was upgraded to a true God tier territory, Zhou Zhou created a small world for Mu Gu in his Divine Kingdom world. It was specially used to house Mu Gu and his Scarlet Broodmother. After Zhou Zhou arrived, Mu Gu immediately stood up and said respectfully, "Greetings, Your Majesty. Has Wu Xian already entered the Mist Mother world?" "Yes, Your Majesty. It's been a while, but because the number of fog monsters in the Scarlet Broodmother has increased greatly, Your Excellency Wu Xian will probably take a while to come out," Mu Gu explained. Zhou Zhou nodded. The Mist Mothers under Mu Gu could produce a total of 20 capital units fog monsters every day. Even though the Homeland Defense Army led by Wu Xian had increased in strength recently, it was only about the strength of the 10 capital units. It was normal for them to spend more time dealing with the fog monsters of the Scarlet Broodmother. He did not intend to let the main combat army help Wu Xian. His main combat army was used to deal with enemies that were truly difficult to deal with, not to do such chores. But we do need to increase the strength of the Homeland Defense Army. Perhaps conscription could be made from all races. Mu Gu handed Zhou Zhou some tea as he pondered. Now that he had become a reserve member of the Lord of all races, his reputation had completely spread throughout the myriad worlds. Zhang Yuanqi had told him that the current Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom received applications from a large number of races every day. Faced with these applications, Zhou Manag's opinion was that apart from a few reputable factions, the rest would all accept them. It would be a waste not to take it after all. With the status of a reserve member of the Lord of all races, he was not afraid of these factions betraying him. Even though he had accepted the surrender of these racial forces, Zhou Manage was busy with work, so he had not made any arrangements for these forces for the time being. Since the Homeland Defense Army was running out of troops, he would recruit soldiers from these defecting factions. At this thought, Zhou Zhou immediately told Zhou Manage about this idea. Zhou Manage said that there was no problem at all. Right at that moment, a golden stream of light flew out of the Scarlet Broodmother and landed on the ground, restoring its true appearance. It was Wu Xian. "Greetings, Your Majesty. Sorry to keep you waiting, Your Majesty." When Wu Xian saw Zhou Zhou, he immediately said respectfully. Then, he immediately took out 3 world rings and handed them to Zhou Zhou. "Your Majesty, the recruitment books and class change certificates that dropped this time are very shocking." While handing it to Zhou Zhou, Wu Xian said to him excitedly. Zhou Zhou smiled and did not say anything. He took it and sent his divine sense into it. One of the world rings contained a huge number of iron-eating bear pet eggs, tree core gems, and other loots. Among the other 2 world rings, one of the world rings contained the 32 capital units of Supreme God Realm Soldier recruitment books and the 32 capital units of Supreme Holy Mage God recruitment books. The other world ring contained the 32 capital units Supreme God Realm Soldier class change certificates and the 32 capital units Supreme Holy Mage God class change certificates. Among them, the Supreme God Realm Soldier was actually a Divine Kingdom Soldier type, the Chaos Dominator Supreme Advanced Soldier type. As for the Supreme Holy Mage God, it was a Divine Kingdom Soldier type, an advancement from the Primordial Holy Canon Soldier type. Even though the latter's advancement was a little strange, Zhou did not mind. Indeed, with Heavenly Fate Di Huang's help, these Divine Kingdom Soldiers have directly advanced to the Supreme Soldier type. While I don't have a Divine Kingdom Soldier type, I skipped this stage and had an even stronger Supreme Soldier type. Among all the forces in the universe, I should be the only one with such an experience, right? Zhou muttered to himself. Then he handed the world ring filled with the Supreme God Realm Soldier class change certificates and the Supreme Holy Mage God class change certificates to Wu Xin and said solemnly, "Legion Commander Wu, I won't give these 64 capital units class change certificates to those reserve duty recruits for the time being. Send them to Bai Yun and let her change all the soldiers under her to Supreme God Realm Soldiers and Supreme Holy Mage Gods." "Yes, Your Majesty." Wu Xin was not surprised and agreed immediately. This was only the class change certificate for the first batch of Supreme Professions. Naturally, it had to be given to the soldiers of the main combat army to use. They could not let those weak recruits use it before the main combat army even used it. Then, Wu Xin did not say anything else and flew directly to the Eternal Mothership. After watching Wu Xin leave, Zhou flew out of the Divine Kingdom world and arrived in front of the Gate of Summoning. He looked at the 64 capital units recruitment books in the world rings. He did not summon all of them. Instead, he took out Supreme God Realm Soldier recruitment books and Supreme Holy Mage God recruitment books and threw them into the Gate of Summoning. Soon, 2 figures walked out from the Gate of Summoning. The first figure was a middle-aged man. He was 8 feet tall and had dark golden pupils in his eyes. He wore a black armor with mysterious patterns and held a spiked club in his hand. Zhou frowned when he first looked at him. He could not help it. This guy looked too ordinary, not much different from an intermediate grade soldier type. The ability of the Supreme Soldier type is only to this extent. However, the way Zhou looked at him immediately changed when he moved his body slightly and crushed the surrounding space into a black line. With just a slight movement, it crushed the surrounding space. Even God spirits couldn't do this, right? Moreover, if the other party really had the power of a Supreme Soldier type, how much did he have to restrain his power so that he couldn't see it at all? Furthermore, Zhou could sense that the other party's armor and weapons were extraordinary. This was definitely not ordinary armor or weapon. Zhou had yet to look at his attributes list. However, he knew that he must have picked up a treasure. Then, he looked at the attributes list of this Supreme Soldier type with anticipation. Soldier name, Rock Dust, Territory, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, Soldier type, Supreme God Realm Soldier, Supreme Soldier, Strength level, Extraordinary tier Elementary grade, Ability overview. A Supreme Soldier type inherited from the Supreme God Realm. It has the Supreme God Realm Physical Immunity Talent, the Soul Immunity Talent, the Elemental Immunity Talent, the Law Immunity Talent, and the Willpower Defense Talent. Almost no Supreme Soldier type of the same level can break through their defense. In addition, their attacks were above all types of attacks. Their attacks could easily injure the enemy, but the enemy's attacks could not cause fatal damage to them. In terms of close combat skills, they had also reached the level of a heavenly martial artist. All the Supreme God Realm soldiers in the myriad worlds could not compare to they in terms of combat skills. They could be said to be the hexagonal warriors among all the Supreme Soldier types. In the end, The Supreme God Realm armors and Supreme God Realm soldiers they were wearing were growth-type treasures that could grow into Supreme Divine artifacts with their soldier types. Moreover, in the hands of the Supreme God Realm soldiers, they could unleash terrifying power that exceeded Supreme Divine artifacts. Skills: Supreme Arms Talent Strongest Divine Body, Supreme Arms Talent Absolute Immunity, Supreme Arms Talent God of Heavenly Martial Arts, Supreme Arms Talent Immortality, Supreme Arms Talent Divine Weapon Will, Supreme Arms Talent Divine Weapon Integration, Supreme Arms Talent Extreme Vitality, Supreme Arms Talent Companion Divine Weapon, Supreme Arms Talent Infinite Rebirth. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill Sea Covering Staff. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill A World Within Reach. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill Vajra Hammer Technique. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill Thousand Shadows Mysterious Body Step. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Law Skill Essence Destroying Staff. Supreme Divine Weapon Will Condensation Method. Sealed. Loyalty 90. Potential. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. World Limit. Zhou looked at it, and could only summarize one word on the attribute panel of this Supreme God Realm soldier: invincible. His physical body was invincible. He had invincible spirit and defense against willpower. His combat skills were also invincible. Not only did he have the inheritance of the Supreme God Realm's will, he also had armors and weapons that could be upgraded along with their strength and realm. He could even be upgraded to the Supreme God Realm. When Zhou saw this, he could not help but take a deep breath. Even if he had Heavenly Fate Di Huang's talent and would obtain countless divine artifacts and even Supreme Divine artifacts in the future, he didn't have any confidence in providing Supreme Divine artifacts for all his soldier types and soldiers in the future. However, this Supreme God Realm weapon had armor and weapons that could grow to the level of a Supreme Divine artifact. As expected of a Supreme God Realm soldier, just having a 100% chance of obtaining a Supreme Divine artifact in the future is enough to make countless Supreme God Realm experts envious, let alone having other advantages. Zhou thought in surprise. Then, he looked at another soldier. This soldier wore a divine robe with a golden pattern on his glabella. He held a scepter with countless law engravings surrounding him, making him look like the master of all laws. He looked at him. A text notification appeared. Soldier name: Zhang Wanzong. Territory: Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Soldier type: Supreme Holy Mage God. Supreme Soldier. Strength level: Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. Ability Overview: A Supreme Soldier type that has inherited the Supreme Law of Spells. It has the Supreme God Realm Willpower Immunity Talent, the Soul Immunity Talent, and is proficient in all elemental spells and elemental law skills in the myriad worlds. The Supreme Holy Mage God suppressed all other spellcasters in terms of level. The elemental spell attacks and elemental law skill attacks of other spellcasters would automatically weaken by 50% when facing the Supreme Holy Mage God. When facing other spellcasters, the elemental spell attacks and elemental law skill attacks would automatically increase by 100%. The Supreme Holy Mage God could instantly release all elemental spells and elemental law skills, but the price was that it required twice the magic power/divine power. The ultimate Holy Archmage has mastered a type of Supreme Divine technique that is exclusive to them. This spell has reached the pinnacle of the law of spells, and the power and effect of the spell is 10 times that of the same level. Skills: Supreme Soldier Type Talent Holy Technique Body, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Willpower Immunity, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Soul Immunity, Supreme Soldier Type Talent All Methods Proficiency, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Spell Supreme, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Spell Authority, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Instantaneous Spell, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Holy Technique, Supreme Soldier Type Talent Supreme Technique, Supreme God Realm Enhanceable Spell Power of 4 Symbols, Supreme God Realm Enhancement Spell Instant Movement, Supreme God Realm Enhancement Spell Healing Technique, Supreme God Realm Enhancement Spell. Supreme Divine Technique. Supreme Divine Technique. Supreme Divine Technique. Heavenly Technique. Loyalty. 90. Potential. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. World Limit. Zhou carefully read every skill in the other party's skill column. After reading it, he couldn't help but take a deep breath as a smile appeared on his face, as expected of a Supreme Soldier type. The other party could be said to be a soldier-type profession that had reached the pinnacle of spells. Among those of the same level, a Supreme Holy Mage God could probably defeat 100 Forbidden Mages. Moreover, the effects of the other party's Supreme Divine Techniques were also very shocking. Such Supreme Divine Techniques were somewhat similar to Forbidden Mage spells, but it was the ultimate evolution of Forbidden Mage spells. If this Supreme Divine Technique was used on the battlefield, the effect it could cause would be at least 10 times or even 100 times of the Forbidden Mage spell. Furthermore, the Supreme Holy Mage God is immune to both will and spirit. That's amazing. Zhou sighed. Starting from the Master God tier to the Supreme God realm, and even to willpower level existences later on, the higher the level of existence, the more they began to pay attention to developing the power of willpower. Willpower attacks, willpower defense methods, willpower control methods, willpower secret techniques, and even willpower divine artifacts. All sorts of willpower-type techniques appeared endlessly. He could naturally deal with these methods since the Supreme Holy Mage Gods were immune to willpower. Just based on this point alone, the Supreme Holy Mage Gods could be considered a high-level soldier-type profession. The further they went, the stronger they would become. With these two supreme professions, I have a certain level of self-preservation in the ultimate void battlefield. Zhou muttered to himself. A supreme soldier type could be considered a top-notch soldier type even on the ultimate void battlefield. For example, the myriad evil demon ancestor, who was currently in charge of the entire ultimate void battlefield, had a supreme soldier type called the ultimate evil spirit. It was precisely because he had a large number of such supreme soldier types and his identity as a reserve lord of all races that he could convince the god spirits of the supreme will camp to fight against him and the ultimate void creatures. Could be seen how powerful the supreme soldier type was. Then Zhou did not think too much about it. He first threw the remaining Supreme God Realm Soldier recruitment books and Supreme Holy Mage God recruitment books into the Gate of Summoning. Then, he spent 100 true God-tier intermediate grade divine crystals to recruit them all in one go and place them on the Eternal Mothership. When he saw the 64 low-level extraordinary tier Supreme God Realm Soldiers and Supreme Holy Mage Gods appear out of thin air in the internal world of the Eternal Mothership, he could not help but feel endless heroism. With these supreme soldier types in hand, other than the territories of will-level existences, where in the myriad worlds could he not go? He only appeased the burning flames of ambition in his heart after a long while. Then, he opened the original Dragon Abyss interface and spent 100 true God-tier intermediate grade divine crystals to summon 66,666,660 pure-blooded dragons. He also placed them in the Eternal Mothership. He habitually glanced at the pure-blooded dragons. When he saw the figure of one of the pure-blooded dragons, he was first stunned before he couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. That was because this dragon was a legendary dragon. Not bad. Not bad. The 30% probability was really not fake. Zhou looked at the other party. This legendary dragon was covered in 7-colored gem scales. There was a ring of gem dragon horns on its head. They clustered together, looking like a gem crown. Surging elemental fluctuations surrounded this pure-blooded dragon, vaguely forming a boundless universe-level elemental realm. Legendary dragon. 9 divine dragons. Karut? It's actually this dragon? Zhou was a little surprised. This legendary dragon from the gem dragon race was an existence comparable to the goddess of magic as the two progenitors of magic. If the goddess of magic was good at all-round magic and had dabbled in all kinds of magic and was proficient in them. Furthermore, he had created the magic network, benefiting all the spellcasters in the myriad worlds. Then, Kiruate was only good at elemental magic. However, because he was deeply involved in the field of elemental magic and had major achievements in the field of elemental magic. Kiruate's reputation even surpassed that of the goddess of magic. The reason why this legendary dragon was called the Nine Divine Dragons was because he was extremely good at the magic of the 9 magical domains of earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, darkness, gems, and chaos. In these 9 magical domains, even the goddess of magic was inferior to Kiruate. As Zhou pondered, the legendary dragon also noticed his gaze. It transformed into a white light and flew in front of Zhou. It appeared in its true form and said respectfully, "Legendary dragon, Kiruate greets your majesty, the lord of the regal dragon." His majesty, the lord of the regal dragon? Zhou was speechless before he smiled. "Your excellency is too polite. Welcome to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. It's Kiruate's honor to be able to join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and become a part of your majesty's forces." Kiruate lowered its stance very much. Zhou guessed that this was not only because he was a reserve member of the Lord of all races. More importantly, it was because of his identity as the Lord of the Regal Dragon. In this world where lords were respected, the status of the Regal Dragon was not inferior to the Primordial Dragon at all after all. It was even slightly higher. Zhou chatted with the other party for a while before sending someone to bring it and the other pure-blooded dragons to the Dragon God army. Then, he spent another 100 true God-tier intermediate grade divine crystals to recruit today's new subjects. In the end, he realized that he had recruited more than 510 million new subjects today. He had summoned more than 80 million new subjects than usual, including the 13 true God-tier intermediate grade God spirits. That's not the most important thing. What was important was that because of the Lord talent, heavenly summoning, he realized that these new subjects had all become professionals with extraordinary tier elementary grade strength. However, their professional columns were empty. In other words, these subjects only had the strength of extraordinary tier elementary grade professionals, but they did not have any specific profession abilities. Oh boy! Can that happen? Is this a bug? Zhou clicked his tongue. He looked at these jobless people who had no profession but extraordinary power. How should he nurture these subjects? He pondered. Even though more than 500 million extraordinary tier subjects were nothing to Zhou, he still had to prepare them for their future development with the reason that he had to be responsible for them as a lord. Just give me the profession class change certificate. This way, they can directly become extraordinary tier elementary grade professionals. Zhou quickly made a decision. This way, they could have their own combat strength as quickly as possible. However, Zhou had no intention of letting them join the main combat army. Same old rules. Professionals who came out of the Gate of Summoning would all join the Homeland Defense Army first. Want to join the main combat army? That's fine. He just had to pass the elimination system and come up through the competitive selection. The soldiers of the main combat army had very heavy war missions. He wanted to let true experts join in. As for what class change certificate to use, it was naturally the class change certificate of 2 supreme soldier types, the Supreme God Realm Soldier and the Supreme Holy Mage God. Now, he had 64 capital units class change certificates of supreme professions every day. After the main army completed their job transition, they could be used by the soldiers of the Homeland Defense Army before being used by the reserve recruits. Right at that moment, boom, 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 boom. 11 pillars of light shot out from the Reincarnation's sacred palace, piercing through the divine kingdom world and shooting into the starry sky, producing various shocking phenomena in the starry sky. There were 11 true God-tier advanced grade God spirits who had advanced to Master God-tier at this moment. Without exception, they all belonged to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. At this moment, all the forces in the myriad worlds were shocked. Even those Supreme God Realm factions could not help but look sideways at this moment. When Zhou saw this, a smile appeared on his face. A moment later, the advancement phenomenon dissipated. Then, 11 divine lights flew out of the Reincarnation sacred palace and landed in front of Zhou. "Greetings, your majesty." The 6 new master god-tiers of the human race and the 5 new master god-tiers of the people of foreign races said excitedly and respectfully. "There's no need to be so polite. Congratulations first. From now on, you're the worshipped master gods of our blazing sun divine kingdom." Zhou smiled. "It's all thanks to His Majesty that we're where we are today. We will not forget His Majesty's kindness to us." A new master god-tier of the human race said respectfully and gratefully. The other 10 new master god-tiers looked at Zhou gratefully. Be it the cultivation of laws, the acquisition of energy for advancement, or the inheritance of the master god-tier, the most important factors for advancing to the master god-tier were almost all not given to them by His Majesty. Therefore, when they said this, they were completely sincere and not fake at all. Zhou smiled and naturally did not deny it. Then, he waved his right hand, and 11 world rings appeared out of thin air in front of him. The usual. I'll still give each of you a Master God-tier elementary grade divine artifact first, and temporarily lend you 5 Master God-tier divine artifacts. These Master God-tier divine artifacts are all suitable for your nomological path. You have to cherish and use them well. Also, there's a Master God-tier promotion celebration tonight. Don't miss it. Zhou smiled. Yes, Your Grace. The 11 Master God-tiers said respectfully. The surrounding God spirits looked at the 11 new Master God-tier with smiles on their faces. In the future, they would all be their colleagues and comrades. With them around, the forces of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom could become stronger. The God spirits who followed the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom could also benefit from this. They would naturally be happy. As for Zhou, he was feeling the lower limit of the potential of the human subjects. Then, a smile appeared on his face. As expected, after the addition of these 6 human Master God tiers, the lower limit of the potential of the human subjects had shockingly increased from Epic Tier Elementary Grade to Epic Tier Intermediate Grade. There was even a new Master God tier slot. If he wanted to raise the minimum potential of Epic Tier Intermediate Grade to Epic Tier Advanced Grade, he needed a total of 20 new Master Gods. 20 new Master Gods of the human race. It's a little difficult, but it's not impossible. The corners of Zhou's lips curled up. At this rate of development, it would probably take less than 7 days for him to gain another 20 or so human Master Gods. At that time, the minimum potential of the human race would be raised to the Epic Tier Advanced Grade. However, then he thought of something and frowned. Just the Epic Tier Advanced Grade requires a total of 20 new Master God tiers of the human race. Then how many human Master God tiers will it take to advance to the Legendary Tier Elementary Grade? Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he didn't think too much about it and began to use the doppelganger technique. He consumed half of his origin and created his 9th clone, naming him Zhou 9. The position that Zhou arranged for him was to not participate in external battles or government affairs. He usually cultivated in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and comprehended the laws and the power of will. When an external enemy attacked the Divine Kingdom, he had to fight for the country immediately and face the enemy. To put it simply, it was to look after the house. Zhou 9 gladly accepted the order, just a little dissatisfied with his name. However, Zhou didn't mind. He waved his hand and let he cultivate. Then, he counted the number of soldiers under his command. He originally had 146 capital units with 264,117,457,818,321 soldiers, 239,618,609 God spirits, 33,064 true gods, and 116 Master Gods. With today's new recruits, pure-blooded dragons, new Master Gods, and his 9th clone joining, the number of troops under him reached 210 capital units, 2,641,241,173,818,321 soldiers, 240,384,609 God spirits, 33,729 true god tiers, and 129 master gods. 200 capital units. When Zhou saw this number, he could not help but smile in satisfaction. No race had such a terrifying number of troops among the myriad races of the heavens. Then he called Bai Yun over and asked he to gather the army and prepare to head to the Chaos Sea. A moment later, the armies were gathered. The four clones, Zhou Fight, Zhou Marshall, Zhou Win and Saturday boarded the Eternal Mothership and headed to the Chaos Sea through the Shadow World. In the Chaos Sea Dream Demon Realm. This was the territory ruled by the Dream Demon God race, and the Dream God race could be considered one of the top 10 races in the entire Chaos Gods race. Swoosh! A shadow vortex suddenly appeared in the high-tier deity-level regional territory in the Dream Demon Realm. Then, an incomparably huge and technologically advanced silver cosmic warship slowly flew out of the shadow vortex and landed above the Divine City. When the many dream life forms of the Dream God City saw this eternal mothership and sensed the aura of the many master gods emitted from inside, they immediately became nervous. Right at that moment, a yellowish-brown master god that looked like a leopard or a bear with a long nose and emitted the aura of a master god-tier advanced grade appeared in the sky above the Divine City. He was the current patriarch and strongest expert of the Dream Eater clan, Dream Eater God Lord. This is common people's Regal's master god-tier advanced grade battleship, Eternal Mothership. This guy has always been quiet the last few times he appeared. Why is he suddenly making a big fuss this time? Dream Eater God Lord's expression did not look too good, especially when he sensed the aura of more than 100 supremacies in the Eternal Mothership. His expression became even uglier and even a little afraid. Such a number of master gods was enough to easily destroy their entire dream tribe. There were only 5 master gods in the Demon race and only 8 master gods including the master gods of the subsidiary races. They were no match for so many master gods brought by the common people's Regal. He looked at the frightened and panicking citizens of the Dream Demon Divine City below and could not help but take a deep breath. He shouted, "I wonder why Your Excellency Common People's Regal suddenly descended above the main city of my Dream Demon realm?" After a while, Zhou Fight's calm voice came from the Eternal Mothership. "Dream Eater God Lord, you don't have to be nervous. This emperor was just bored and suddenly patrolled this emperor's territory. It's just that the way I appeared might have given you a bit of a scare. Don't be afraid. This emperor will go to the next place to tour." After saying that, the Eternal Mothership that covered the Divine City rumbled for a while before flying into the distance and quickly disappearing into the dark universe. The Dream Eater God Lord looked in the direction where the Eternal Mothership disappeared. His expression suddenly darkened after a while. The next second, the entire Dream Demon Divine City turned the reality here into an illusory dream because of the divine power emitted by the Dream Eater God Lord. And the Dream Eater God Lord was the only and supreme master god in this illusory dream. What a common people's Regal! You actually treat our Chaos Gods race as nothing, relying on your status as a reserve member of the Lord of all races. Let's end this today. From now on, this day every year will be your common people's Regal's death anniversary," the Dream Eater God Lord said coldly. It was as if he was looking at a ship of death looking at the spot where the Eternal Mothership disappeared. "Your Majesty," that Dream Eater God Lord seems very unconvinced. Furthermore, he really seemed to have prepared something looking at how confident he is. Qi Shentian said, "That's what they're waiting for. Otherwise, how could our Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom have a reason to directly deal with the Chaos Gods race or even the other 2 top races?" Zhou Fight said calmly. Then, he stroked the supreme holy sword in front of him and said softly, "Even though the status of the Lord of all races as a reserve force allows me to surpass all races, I can't casually attack foreign races and even ask them not to resist. In any case, the 3 top bloodline races already see this emperor as a thorn in their side. This emperor will give them a chance to let us have a fair battle with them. This emperor is against the 3 top bloodline races. After this battle, this emperor should be able to completely subdue them. When the time comes, in this myriad worlds, No factions would be a match for this Emperor's blazing sun divine kingdom other than Supreme God Realm factions and willpower level factions. This Emperor can also truly be at ease and head to the ultimate void battlefield. Your Majesty is far-sighted, the generals said respectfully. Zhou Feit did not say much. He stretched out his right hand and saw the Bodhi Supreme appear in his hand. Bodhi Supreme, how many chaotic divine demons are there in the Chaos Sea now? He asked. Let me see. TSK. There are 5 chaotic divine demons in the Chaos Sea today. Bodhi Supreme seemed to have discovered something interesting and chuckled. 5 chaotic divine demons? Zhou Feit raised his eyebrows. Could his luck be at its peak? He had clearly killed many chaotic divine demons in the past few days. Why were there more and more chaotic divine demons? Tell us the location of the chaotic divine demons. Zhou Feit did not think too much about it and immediately asked. Okay. I'll pass it on to your Zero. It's done. See for yourself. Bodhi Supreme said lazily and then stopped talking. Upon hearing this, Zhou immediately asked Zero to bring out the map that Bodhi Supreme had passed to him. Hearing this, Zero immediately pulled out the map. When the map and the location of the 5 chaotic divine demons appeared, everyone present was a little surprised. This was because they saw that, for some reason, the 5 chaotic divine demons were gathered together. What's this all about? Are they meeting? Interesting. This is the first time I've encountered something like this. The generals and god spirits discussed in surprise. Zhou was also very surprised to see this. Then, he didn't think too much about it and directly said, since they have chosen to gather together, it saves us the trouble of running around looking for them. Zero, let's go straight to them. Yes, Your Grace, Zero said respectfully. Then, he activated the Eternal Mothership and entered the Dark Universe, flying towards the 5 chaotic divine demons. At the same time, the Dream Eater God Lord also told the Chaos Sea's Patriarch, the Heaven-Cursed Beast, about the Lord of the Blazing Sun's return. In a place filled with chaotic airflow, chaotic divine lightning rumbled, and chaotic chains spread everywhere. The Heaven-Cursed Beast and 2 other top Master Gods were gathered here. One of the Master Gods was the Patriarch of the primordial spirit race, Origin. As for the other Master God tier, he was the Patriarch of the Shepherd's God race. He was known as the King of all Gods, Di Huang. Heaven-Cursed Beast. The seal here has been strengthened by the Supreme Will again? Di Huang smiled faintly. Gentlemen, the Dream Eater God Lord has just sent news that the Lord of the Blazing Sun has already entered the Chaos Sea. We should make a move. The Heaven-Cursed Beast had no intention of talking about these things. After saying that, Origin and Di Huang's gazes immediately landed on his face, their gazes revealing a questioning look. I've already contacted that person, the Heaven-Cursed Beast said in a deep voice. That person is very willing to help us. He doesn't even need us to pay anything. He just needs to give him a chance to get close to the common people's regal and attack him. Origin and Di Huang were stunned when they heard this. Disbelief appeared on their faces. Right now, the common people's regal was the Lord of all races reserve. He was the most popular person in front of the Supreme Will. Under such circumstances, there were already very few existences who dared to attack the common people's regal. Moreover, even if they wanted to attack, it was impossible for them to attack for free. They definitely had to take some benefits. They were already prepared to spend a lot of money. But they didn't expect that the Lord that the Heaven-Cursed Beast invited actually didn't want anything and wanted to attack common people's regal? How much hatred did he have for the common people's regal? Does that person have a deep grudge with the common people's regal? Origin asked. It's not convenient for me to say much. I can only tell you that he will definitely do his best to kill the common people's regal. Don't ask too many questions. His lordship doesn't want to reveal too much. The Heaven-Cursed Beast said mysteriously. All right. Origin and Di Huang did not ask further. They couldn't wait for their relationship with the mysterious powerhouse to be as shallow as possible. This way, even if it was exposed in the future, he would be less guilty. There is no time to lose. Let's go. We must kill the common people's regal on this trip. Otherwise, we really won't be able to get rid of him anymore. The heaven-cursed beast looked at Origin and Di Huang solemnly. Origin and Di Huang nodded silently. On the other side, after flying in the dark universe for more than 2 hours, they finally arrived at the place where the 5 chaotic divine demons were gathered. Zhou Fight stood in front of the virtual external projection and clicked his tongue in wonder as he looked at the 5 chaos divine demons gathered together to chat. It seems like these 5 chaotic divine demons aren't plotting anything. But it doesn't matter even if it's a conspiracy. With my current strength, unless that chaotic divine demon's Di Huang comes, basically nothing will happen. Then, he stopped thinking and teleported away from the eternal mothership, arriving not far from the 5 chaotic divine demons. When Zhou Fight appeared, the 5 chaotic divine demons seemed to have sensed something and turned to look at him. When they saw that it was a human, they seemed to have thought of something and their eyes became fiery. Zhou Fight, he smiled and said as he thought to himself, "Hello, chaotic divine demons. This emperor is the ruler of the blazing sun divine kingdom. I'm here to talk to us about a deal, then kill us, huh?" Before Zhou Fight could finish speaking, one of the chaotic divine demons, who was surrounded by space-time fluctuations, immediately interrupted him. Exactly. Zhou Fight was stunned for a moment before smiling. It looks like this deal is going to go a lot smoother. Zhou Fight had a premonition. The next second, as expected, he heard the other party say, "Let us promise you this, too. But you have to pay us 5 Master God-tier divine artifacts for each chaotic divine demon. So we'll let you kill us and get the chaos divine treasure you want," the space-time chaotic divine demons said. Zhou Fight raised his eyebrows slightly and said calmly, "It seems like you already know about this emperor's previous deal with the other chaotic divine demons. It's just 5 Master God-tier divine artifacts. Do you really think that Master God-tier divine artifacts are as common as cabbages? If that's the bottom line of your deal, we don't see any point in discussing it. Goodbye." After saying that, Zhou Fight did not seem to care. He turned around and left, looking like he wanted to return to the eternal mothership. The 5 chaotic divine demons were stunned by Zhou Fight's decisiveness. According to the information they received, didn't this common people's regal really need chaos divine treasures? Even when the wind chaotic divine demons suddenly raised the price and demanded 4 Master God-tier divine artifacts, the common people's regal agreed without any hesitation. They had only raised the price again. Why did this fellow turn around and leave without even negotiating? Common people's regal? Are you sure you don't want to trade with us? I remember that as a lord of all races, you need a large number of chaos divine treasures to advance to your divine kingdom territory. Right? The space-time chaotic divine demon spoke again. It's true that this emperor needs a large number of chaos divine artifacts, but this emperor isn't a fool. 5 precious Master God-tier divine artifacts in exchange for a renewable chaos divine artifact. If it were you, would you do such a business? Since your asking price is too high, this emperor can only wait for the next time to trade with other chaotic divine demons. I'm sure the other chaotic divine demons, Your Excellency, would be very willing to take the initiative to look for this emperor and make a deal with him after learning of this emperor's sincerity. Zhou Fight said without turning his head. The space-time chaotic divine demons and the other 4 chaotic divine demons fell silent. They knew that Zhou Fight was right. Using one of their chaos divine treasures could be exchanged for 4 master divine artifacts that could greatly increase their strength. 99% of the chaotic divine demons in their divine demon realm were willing to make this deal. Wasn't it just losing some of his cultivation? Cultivating in seclusion for thousands of years would make up for it. When the time came, he would be a good man again. However, a few thousand years couldn't be exchanged for 4 Master God-tier divine artifacts. The divine demon realm was not a peaceful place. In addition, Di Huang of the chaotic divine demons had the intention to indulge them. Treasures, resources, power, status, strength. They needed the chaotic divine demons to fight for it with their own strength. Therefore, they really needed these 4 master god-tier divine artifacts to increase their strength. What now? Are we really going to give up this trading opportunity and let the common people's regal find other chaotic divine demons to trade in the future? The magic figure chaotic divine demon asked. The strength chaotic divine demons beside him became anxious before the space-time chaotic divine demons could reply. The wind chaotic divine demons have already relied on the few master god-tier divine artifacts they obtained from the common people's regal to show off in the divine demon realm and obtain resources and status that they didn't even dare to think about before. One step slows. If we don't trade this time, the other chaotic divine demons will have already left us far behind by the time we want to trade again. We definitely can't fall behind them. Otherwise, we definitely won't be able to protect our status and resources. The other 2 chaotic divine demons did not speak, but the eagerness in their eyes expressed their intentions. The space-time chaotic divine demon could not help but sigh. He originally wanted to drag it out and test the bottom line of this common people's regal. But looking at these pig-headed teammates, he knew that he couldn't delay any longer. Otherwise, not only would he not be able to obtain the master god-tier divine artifact, he would also lose the right to be trusted among them. Your Excellency Regal, let's do it your way. Let's make a deal. The space-time chaotic divine demon said. Zhou Fight stopped in his tracks and turned to look at them with a faint smile. That's right. This is a fair trade. It's not a loss for either of us, is it? The 5 chaotic divine demons nodded. I'll leave it to you now? Zhou Fight asked. Leave it to me. I have mastered the secret technique of the space-time secret treasure, which allows me to keep my treasures intact even after I die. The space-time chaotic divine demons said. Okay. Zhou Fight nodded and did not say anything else. He took out 20 world rings and threw them to them, and they looked at Zhou Fight in surprise. It was as if he didn't expect the other party to actually trust him so much. These were 20 master god-tier divine artifacts. Yet he actually gave them to him without saying anything. Common people's regal, as expected of the Lord of all races, reserves personally chosen by the supreme will. He's got an extraordinary breadth of mind. The space-time chaotic divine demons complimented him. Then, they immediately gathered with the other 4 chaotic divine demons. Their divine senses entered the world rings and checked the master god divine artifacts stored inside. The 5 chaotic divine demons heaved a sigh of relief and smiled after confirming that there was no problem. The master god-tier divine artifact is fine. The wind chaotic divine demon was telling the truth? Is there really such a person who is willing to give up a master god-tier divine artifact for a chaotic divine artifact? This common people's regal is indeed a magnanimous person. He actually handed it over to us so easily. Isn't he afraid that we'll run away after taking, since he dared to take it out for us to take away? It means that he has the strength. He isn't afraid of us taking away his master divine artifact. That's right. If we get greedy, I'm afraid not only will we die here, but we won't even get a single master god-tier divine artifact. That's right. If we get greedy, I'm afraid not only will we die here, but we won't even get a single master god-tier divine artifact. Right at that moment, among the 5 chaotic divine demons, the shadow chaotic divine demon suddenly sent a voice transmission. Space-time, can you take us back to the divine realm? The other 3 chaotic divine demons also looked at the space-time chaotic divine demon strangely. Obviously, they wanted to take advantage and ran away. The space-time chaotic divine demon's expressions did not change, but he was already cursing in his heart. He calmly sent a voice transmission. No. As a space-time chaotic divine demons, I'm most sensitive to space-time fluctuations. His Excellency, the common people's regal, seems to be extremely generous, but in fact, he has already locked down the surrounding time and space. Now I can feel that I can no longer open the gate of gods and demons and return to the demonic dimension. As soon as he said that, the 4 chaotic divine demons were shocked. Doesn't that mean that if the other party doesn't give us the master god-tier divine artifact, He can also easily kill us? And we won't be able to escape. They came to their senses. Yeah. The fact that we can stand here safe and sound, and even obtain the Master God divine artifact of the common people's regal is already the other party's greatest pity. Don't think about anything else. Otherwise, if anything happens, you brought it on yourselves. The space-time chaotic divine demon said calmly. All right. The 4 chaotic divine demons no longer had such thoughts. The space-time chaotic divine demons heaved a sigh of relief. Then they flew in front of Zhou Fight. The space-time chaotic divine demon was the first to speak. Your Excellency. We ready. However, before you kill us for the chaos divine treasure, I have something to say. Oh. Zhou Fight raised his eyebrows and said, Please do. The space-time chaotic divine demons took a deep breath and said calmly, As your majesty can see, I'm a space-time chaotic divine demon. I'm best at bringing chaotic divine demons from the divine demon realm to the outside world. With my current abilities, I can bring up to 10 chaotic divine demons to the outside world at a time. Therefore, I wish to make a deal with your majesty. I can bring 10 chaotic divine demons who are willing to trade with your majesty every day until your majesty doesn't need the chaotic divine treasure. So what do you want? Zhou Fight asked with an unchanged expression. I want a supreme god realm inheritance of the law of space. The space-time chaotic divine demon said solemnly. The supreme god realm inheritance of the law of space? Zhou Fight looked at him in surprise. This fellow had a big appetite. He thought that him just wanted more master god-tier divine artifacts. He didn't expect him to ask for the supreme god realm's inheritance right from the start. Moreover, it was the supreme god realm's inheritance of the laws of time and space. Such an inheritance was considered rare even among the many supreme god realm inheritances. However, that was only for the other factions. To Zhou Fight, he could easily kill a master god of the law of space and obtain a supreme god realm inheritance of the law of space. He even had a grade 2 supreme god realm supreme god inheritance. But then again, Zhou Fight was willing to pay a lot even though the other party had a big appetite. I can bring 10 chaotic divine demons who are willing to trade with your majesty every day until your majesty doesn't need the chaotic divine treasure. In other words, if he did not say that he did not need it, the other party would bring him an endless stream of chaos divine treasures for the rest of his life. This was equivalent to binding him to him for the rest of his life. Zhou Fight looked like he was deep in thought. The space-time chaotic divine demons hurriedly said addition. I know it's high, but I will be doing a lot. Bringing 10 chaotic divine demons who are willing to trade with your majesty every day to your majesty, the risk I take is actually very high. There is no telling what will happen in the future, and this process will be interrupted after all. If that really happens, even if I break the contract, I'm willing to sell myself to your majesty and serve you for the rest of my life. If your majesty doesn't believe me, I have a supreme god realm contract here. I'm willing to sign a contract with your majesty regarding this transaction. And you are so sure I can get a supreme god realm law of space inheritance so easily? Zhou Fight looked at him. It might not necessarily be an inheritance. Other key treasures and resources that can help me advance to the supreme god realm are also fine. Our deal can be considered as complete as long as your majesty can give me a 50% chance of advancing to the supreme god realm. Actually, if it were other god spirits or even other supreme god realms, I wouldn't trust them so much to be able to give me the opportunity to advance to the supreme god realm. But His Majesty is different. You are the Lord of all races reserve. In the future, you will become a supreme existence like the supreme will. When the time comes, any amount of resources in your hands is enough for me to advance to the supreme god realm, the space-time chaotic divine demon said. For an existence like the supreme will, or even an ordinary will-level existence, it was not too difficult for them to take out a supreme god realm inheritance. Could even be said to be very easy. He had also thought for a long time before looking for the Lord of the Blazing Sun as a trading partner. While the other party had yet to become a will-level existence, and was not even a master god. He believed that with this common people's regal's past accomplishments, as long as he did not die midway, there was a high chance that HW would become a supreme god realm existence in the future, or even a will-level existence. However, he believed that with this common people's regal's past accomplishments, as long as he did not die midway, there was a high chance that he would become a supreme god realm existence in the future, or even a will-level existence. However, for the sake of his future and the fact that he didn't have anyone else to trade with, he could only gamble like this. He would not hesitate even if he lost the bet. He was too eager to become a supreme god realm expert. Or rather, which top master god tier did not desire to become a supreme god realm? Okay. This emperor promises you. Give me the contract. Zhou Fight said without hesitation. The space-time chaotic divine demon was overjoyed. He immediately took out a blank contract book. After both parties had drawn up the contents of the contract, he immediately signed the contract. After signing the contract, the space-time chaotic divine demon heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. His future supreme god realm path was finally settled. The other chaotic divine demons looked at the space-time chaotic divine demons strangely, mockingly, or enviously. Law of space supreme god realm inheritance? How dare he ask for that? While it is true that the other party had unlimited potential as a reserve army for the Lord of all races, did you forget that there were 3 other lords of all races in reserve before him? How long had they been the Lord of all races reserve army for? They are just supreme god realm experts now. The young supreme god realm you're betting on is not even a master god. He has no advantage in front of those 3 Lord of all races reserves. You're even willing to bet on this? How desperate. The 4 chaotic divine demons were not optimistic about the space-time chaotic divine demon's choice. The space-time chaotic divine demon also noticed their gazes, but he didn't care. At least I tried. What about you lot? Come and kill us, the space-time chaotic divine demon said. Okay. Zhou Fight nodded. Just as he was about to take action, he suddenly sensed something and looked up at the sky. There was an ocean in the sky. At this moment, a vast amount of chaotic airflow rolled to both sides like a sea, revealing the mighty army behind the chaotic airflow. The army consists of 4 parts. The main elite force was the original spirit race, the chaos gods race, and the shepherd's god race. The other army consisted of the elite subsidiary races of the 3 top bloodline races. They had about 10,000 elite subsidiary races, forming an army that was even more astonishing than the combined forces of the 3 bloodline races. The 3 top-notch bloodline races had only brought over 300 capital units of troops, and this army of more than 10,000 elite subsidiary races had more than 800 capital units troops. Furthermore, even though this 1,000-odd capital units army had not reached the god spirit realm, they were wearing specially made clothes with the chaos attribute. Therefore, they could survive and fight freely in the chaotic airflow without being injured by the chaotic airflow and chaotic divine lightning. In addition, the master gods of the 3 top bloodline races added up to more than 1,000. There were more than 300,000 true gods and 2 billion god spirits. Even Zhou Fight himself held his breath for a second when he saw such a terrifying army, let alone these 5 chaotic divine demons. However, his expression returned to calmness. This is the strength unleashed by the 3 top bloodline races going all out. It had to be said that such a strength was indeed ridiculous. But this emperor isn't subpar either, Zhou Fight thought to himself. At the same time, far away in the Reincarnation sacred palace of the blazing sun divine kingdom, Zhou slowly opened his eyes. Scenes were reflected in his eyes. It was the scene of the confrontation between the 2 sides in the Chaos Sea. Such a great battle. I have to watch the battle even if it disturbs my cultivation, Zhou said with a smile. At the same time, the myriad races quickly learned of this news and used their own methods to spy on the world-shaking battle that was about to erupt. They all understood that this was a battle that they might not see in countless years. The 3 top bloodline races versus the newly promoted Lord of all races. No matter who won or lost, the consequences would be far-reaching. It might even decide the direction of this era. At the same time, they could not help but exclaim, as expected of the three top bloodline races. They even dared to have designs on the Lord of all races. This time, this newly promoted Lord of all races reserve army would probably die before he fulfilled his ambitions and ascended to the position of the Supreme Lord. They were not optimistic about this common people's regal. The common people's regal had only become the Lord of all races reserve army for a short period of time after all. His strength had yet to develop. In addition, the three top-tier bloodline races were going all out. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. They were so big that they couldn't see any hope of the Lord of all races reserve army winning. Therefore, they felt that it was impossible for common people's regal to win. I wonder how the three top bloodline races will face the Supreme Will's accountability after the common people's regal dies? And how does the Supreme Will deal with the three top bloodline races? All the gods thought of this. Strictly speaking, the combined status of the three top bloodline races was inferior to this Lord of all races. However, if this Lord of all races reserve army died, would the Supreme Will really punish the three most important top bloodline races under him for the sake of a dead Lord of all races reserve army? The dead would be useless after all. From the perspective of benefits and the overall situation, there was no need to lose more because of a dead person, right? Moreover, no matter how one looked at it, a reserve army Lord of all races who could be surrounded and killed by various races felt that such a reserve army of the Lord of all races was not strong enough. Therefore, the three top bloodline races were actually gambling that the Supreme Will would not kill them just because of such a Lord of all races reserve army. They would at most be punished. However, it would just be a punishment. When they made the plan to surround and kill common people's regal, they were already prepared for this. Speaking of which, after the three top bloodline races and more than 10,000 elite subsidiary races led an army of more than 1,000 capital units to the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, the heaven-cursed beast's slow and cold voice slowly sounded. Common people's regal. Surrender. We led an army of more than 1,000 capital units, 2 billion god spirits, 300,000 true gods, and more than 1,000 master gods to crush you, the Lord of all races reserve army. There is an insurmountable power gap between you and us. Admit defeat and we will give you a dignified death on account that you are the Lord of all races reserve army. Common people's regal surrender, Origin said. Common people's regal, you don't have the slightest chance of winning the upcoming war. To you and your people, stubbornly resisting to the end is only the option of death. You were given the honorific title of common people's regal by the Supreme Will, so you must be someone who cares about the common people of the various worlds. Are you going to watch helplessly as your soldiers and god spirits die here because of your stubborn resistance? Di Huang said viciously. Zhou Feit raised his eyebrows slightly and smiled. This emperor still admires three top bloodline races' courage at this moment, even though I knew that you would be desperate. Are you ready for the wrath of the Supreme Will? This emperor is the Lord of all races reserve army. Moreover, I am the Lord of all races that the Lord of all races has high hopes for. You three lords can't be compared to me. Since you dare to attack this emperor, you must be prepared to exterminate your entire clan. Right? As soon as he said that, other than the heaven-cursed beast, the expressions of the living beings of the other three top bloodline races, including Di Huang and Origin, changed slightly. However, their expressions became firm again. So what? The relationship between the two had long been incompatible. Since they let the common people's regal become the Lord of all races, their ending would be very bad. If they surrounded and killed the common people's regal who had yet to grow up, their ending would also be very bad. Then, they would rather choose to kill the common people's regal who had yet to become the Lord of all races. At least for now, this guy is still manageable. They would truly have no power to resist when the other party becomes a true Lord of all races instead of a reserve army now. Common people's regal, there is no need for more talk between us. I'll just ask you one thing. Will you surrender or not? Di Huang asked coldly. This emperor has lost and won, but has never surrendered. Zhou Feit said with a faint smile. Di Huang and Origin's expressions turned ugly. In the end, they still had to fight. Their current strength might have already far surpassed the common people's regal, but in their eyes, the common people's regal strength was not weak after all. If they really fought, they would definitely lose a good portion of their soldiers and god spirits. However, there was no other way. The common people's regal must die. All soldiers and god spirits, the heaven-cursed beast said, everyone, attack and destroy all the soldiers and god spirits of the blazing sun divine kingdom. Leave no one alive. After eliminating these main combat troops, we will destroy the territory of the blazing sun divine kingdom on the high continent. When the time comes, the resources and wealth obtained from the blazing sun divine kingdom will belong to whoever obtains it. There's no need to hand it over. As soon as he said that, the eyes of all the soldiers and god spirits of the 3 top bloodline races instantly burned, especially those master gods. Everyone knew that even though the blazing sun divine kingdom had only been established for a short period of time, it could be said to be extremely rich in resources. Not only did ordinary soldiers have as many skills as cabbages, even their god spirits, true gods, and even master gods had a complete set of divine artifacts on them. Even a supreme god realm faction might not be able to take out such a wealth. Not to mention the 3 top-notch bloodline factions. Most importantly, this common people's regal also had many supreme god realm treasures in his hands. If they could obtain a supreme god realm treasure and take back their race, they could all become the ultimate treasure of their race. Origin, the heaven-cursed beast, and Di Huang looked at Zhou fight with burning passion. Even they were shocked by the wealth of the blazing sun divine kingdom. If they could obtain all the wealth of the blazing sun divine kingdom, it would not be an exaggeration to say that the power of the 3 top bloodline races would increase exponentially. At the thought of this, Origin and Di Huang looked at each other and followed the army towards the eternal mothership. The heaven-cursed beast sneered when it saw this, but it did not follow. Instead, it guarded the rear and took charge of the overall situation, commanding the entire army. Kill! Show these creatures who think they're of the top bloodlines what a supreme soldier type is. Zhou Fight ordered coldly.